We should be live now. Marcus, the Mandalorian, aka Marcus the Way. How's it going today? Thanks so much for coming to talk with me here on the Late Night Cruise Show. What's going on? What's
Oh, thanks for
happening?
having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Did you watch the Star Citizen live today, by any chance?
Yes, we watched it on stream.
Oh, you did. Oh, that's
Yep.
good. I'm so
Yeah, we
glad.
try to watch most of those. Unless they look a little bit dry, then we watch it.
That's a good point. Yeah. So you didn't find this one dry at all?
No, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
No, it was pretty good. It's typically the developer stuff that uh, people ask not to show on stream.
What's interesting is I think that the majority of the people I talk to, that's the stuff they want is the developer stuff, but you don't like that. You must not be a developer.
Uh, no, I mean in terms of it's just dry. It can be dry content for the community. So they just don't enjoy it as much. I think I had one stream and I was already tired and I almost fell asleep in it. So it looked like it. Um, but yeah, it's stuff I want to see. It's just not everyone wants to see it. So I try to do what the community wants.
What kind of stuff would you want to see?
Like stuff that we saw today, where there's some story happening. Stuff that the community like isn't aware that is happening. Um, that isn't getting so technical, but is giving some uh background to I guess to the story of the game, to big foundational stuff. Like my brain goes to the Tony Z Citizen Con uh, conference that they had, where they had the hour long talk about talking about the economy. That's the one that we've watched on stream, and that's uh, was is a fantastic video that we talk about quite often.
I think that's one thing that like we still kind of are salivating about today. Like I remember when that CitizenCon presentation happened, and I don't think it was the most important thing that people were talking about at the time,
Mm-hmm.
because there's all sorts of flashy stuff. But looking at a year in retrospect now, I think the quanta systems is stuff that we talk about more than anything from
Oh
that
yeah,
CitizenCon.
yeah, absolutely. Uh, Dry at the beginning, but still interesting, and then just accelerated into just making your brain think of all the missions that are going to be spawning, all those interactions. So super exciting. We talk about all the stuff all the time on stream.
You know what grinds my gears though with today's Star Citizen Live was it was all about politics, and I'm not a big fan of politics, but like one thing about Twitch is we're not supposed to talk about politics on stream, and I wasn't going to talk about politics with you today, but I see no way around it now. You know,
Well, as long as we're talking about in-game politics, we're good.
even still, it's the same nonsense. I think it seems to be that way, at least.
Yeah, I think what's interesting for the writers, and we talked a little bit about it on stream, is however that it gets voted on, however the citizens vote on it, they now have to start writing that way. So they're very vested in what is going to happen, and I could almost see a, I think it was I can't remember the girl's name. Sort
Sherry.
of felt like I felt like she was creating her like a an alter ego character. Like she was, I think she was rooting for her character, wasn't she? I can't remember, but anyways, it's opportunity for them to really get vested in their characters. It's pretty cool to see.
Are you excited for it? Do you plan on voting?
I'm gonna have to go follow up on it later and see what uh, what all the politicians are wanting. I know we're hearing the blurbs in the background, but I'm really not listening to them in the game. Um, that's kind of a true to life as well. But yeah, I'll check it out.
One thing that I thought that stood out more than anything in today's Star Citizen Live was the fact that Disco Lando called Synth World a scam. Do you remember when he said that? Did you hear him say
Several
that?
times. Yeah, he said it several
He
times.
did, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was interesting. I don't know the context of it, so but it was funny to hear their opinions on stuff.
Well, he looks at it like it's a money laundering scheme, and I mean, it makes sense if you think about it. Like the amount of resources that are being would be allocated from the Empire into the synth world
Yeah,
would be a
all the
lot.
jobs it would steal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know how to, like, if that actually existed, how do you guarantee, like, you'd have to have a universal income with that kind of thing, and
that's
then yeah,
true.
let all the robots do whatever.
That's
But
true.
Monopoly is probably better.
Monopoly
Monopoly.
is better.
Yep, yep. In terms of uh, if that kind of thing happened, that would be an absolute monopoly. It'd be crazy.
How would you
Yeah.
see a monopoly existing? What would you see? What would be monopolizing?
If you have a whole world dedicated to to just producing everything, that's just exactly what we don't want. I think we need some diversity and ideas, but I mean, I'd like to see what synth world is. Number one, like, is it who's running it? Is it like, I haven't even looked into the lore of it, so um, I'm a little short on that topic. But yeah, I don't know if it's a company running it, or if it's is it like a race of robots on that? Does anyone know? I'm not sure. Um,
Let me just read out the Wikipedia page for you just to have clarity, just because I think it's important and I don't know all the facts.
okay.
So Synth World is a man-made megastructure which is intended to be the first artificial planet in UEE-controlled space. Despite being not finished yet, it is currently 2950, listed as Kronos 3. Just FYI, the Kronos system was discovered around 2862. It was occupied by the Empire, um, with two resource-poor worlds because it's so remote. Um, and I guess that's about it. There was some more like war stuff that went on there, but yeah, as far as Synthworld goes, it's just it's a planet that we created that's in the middle of nowhere. I think.
Hmm.
Good.
Well, it sounds like just a manufacturing world as so. I don't know why he thinks scam unless he knows some lore that they haven't posted yet.
Could
But
be.
yeah,
Could be. Yeah. Well, another thing that kind of gets me with the whole political thing, and I mean, like, I'm sorry to talk about politics, but this is all I could think about this afternoon, and I'm like, I need to talk to somebody about this. So you just happen to be the closest person to me. Congrats.
okay.
Um, is this whole argument of Terra versus Earth. And I hate this argument. I hope someone listens to me out there in CIG world about this, but I don't think we should be choosing between the future of humanity, Earth versus Terra. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. You remember that meme that was popular a few years ago where there was like this young girl and she was like, why not both? They like hoisted her above her shoulders and she was like, why not both? And I think they're arguing about like a pasta sauce or something like that. But I just think about Earth and Terra, and I'm like, why not both? Why can't both of these communities be representing humankind? You know what I mean?
Yeah, more of a democracy. Yeah, I have to take a look at what they're trying to lay out for a political system. It seems like it's very um like it's a you're I guess we should look it up. It's they're a ruler of the whole verse. Is that the idea of all where all the humans are? It's not an actual democracy or any set like are they as they're not obviously not oligarchs. Like is this some sort of I mean there's voting, so it's just a different type of democracy.
It must be. It must be. It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to put like a label on it. We're trying to identify what political system this is. It's kind of blurry.
Mm-hmm.
I always kind of lean towards more like a socialist political system. I think about, I think about equality. But
So Canada.
I'll tell you, yeah, whoops a daisy. I'll tell you one thing though. I don't think it's good that we got these two like factions of humanity. One is representing Earth, and the other is representing Terra. If you think about a war with the Vandal, exactly what they would want is us to divide ourselves because that would make us weaker. So if anything, we should be putting our differences aside, and focusing on the big prize.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. I don't. I mean, it's a. I mean, they're just trying to create story. It's one way to do it. I mean, if they did it the other way, where everything was unified, there wouldn't be much of a story. So, uh, I mean, they had 4 creative writers there, and I'm sure that's probably the goal: create story and do this vote every. I don't know. Is it going to be every few years? Because are we in an accelerated timeline in Star Citizen,
Hmm.
or um, but I mean that's exactly what their goal is: create story. So that's a good start.
That's true. It is a good start. I just wish they could create a new story. I just wish it wasn't just the story that we have right now on the planet of
You
war,
don't want
I
to see a
guess.
versus humans versus each other.
No, I mean we're 1,000 years in the future. We have to have some level of evolution, and like we survived robot wars. That was something they discussed in the past. And they talked about AI. Like we've survived artificial intelligence enslaving humanity. Like we've gone beyond the Terminator. Yet for some reason we're still battling with each other. That's
Right.
tragic.
Yes, it is. It's true to life, unfortunately, and maybe the writers are writing from their own experiences or what they're seeing in the world, right? Like, I mean, it's it's a I mean, it's funny that they're bringing politics into the game. I don't know where else like they could have gone. Like they already have Squadron 42 coming, so yeah, I don't know where else. Like uh, I they also haven't told us what the effects are going to be of these choices of how your vote's gonna go. Um, and they may never tell us. That might just be again up to those writers to figure that out once we make a choice. So it'd be interesting if they gave us some ideas though of what could happen.
Wouldn't that be nice? Instead of
Yeah,
keeping us on the edge of our seat, and it's like, okay, you guys do this, but we're not going to tell you what the results are.
right. Exactly.
What a
Exactly.
cliffhanger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's the kicker. Our vote actually didn't matter because this King of Dragon, that could be true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I wish I could start my own kind of political party in this though, because like I wish I could represent the three systems. Like another thing they're arguing is like, should we continue to invest into synth world? Like I think that's why Disco's like it's a money laundering scheme. It's a waste of money. We shouldn't even bother with it. If you were Imperator, Marcus, would you invest in synth world?
Uh, yes. Absolutely. But my political ideas were outside of the verse were already, I think, more evolved than people are ready for. But because I I believe all government is corrupt um, in terms of just when people are involved. But I mean, it's too easy to get corrupted. So anyways, I but my idea would actually take us over to automating government. So I'm surprised that maybe they didn't make that as an option to be voted on. But yeah, I would talk more about this, but I don't know if it would annoy people. So um, I certainly can if you want me to expand upon it. But
Absolutely. I mean, you're kind of on the night crew wheelhouse right now. So if you damage your reputation, it's only within here. So it's
I'm
not
not
going
going
to
to
hurt you.
damage it. It's. I mean, I've talked about this off stream with people on my Discord, but um, I had a silly idea that um, I'm not going to talk about. It took me to another idea. There was a fellow with a on a TED talk, and he had basically a way more enhanced, better, more simplified version of it. And that was that once a year you get like a questionnaire from what the government that's in charge, and it basically just is telling them what is important to you, and you do this once a year. There's no vote, there's no nothing, and all the bills and things that need to be passed to make things happen, backed by scientific uh, research and data, just automatically is year and aid based upon what the people want, like what's good for the people. and that to me is it seems like really simplified, taking the corruption out of the equation and just have people overseeing that, and things very transparent. Um, that's the kind of government I would love to see,
Ta
is less government and more automation.
taking the human element out of government, I think.
Yeah, the places that are corruptible. Yeah, I mean, we see it. We see it every day. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, what country it is. We all see it on varying degrees. And I mean, 900 years in the future, that's what I would hope, that we would see something smart like that. Not something that is just run by people that have been in the system too long and have too many connections. So
Yeah, which is basically what the imperator is.
yeah.
One person who gets enough votes and they stay in office for 10 years, which is quite a bit of time.
Oh, it's a crazy amount of damage that can be done in 10 years.
That's true. And like
Yeah.
from what I see, I actually I think I see like two really big problems with this. Like yeah, like I wish that yes we could employ an automated environment for the political system, you know, take the human
Mm-hmm.
component out and then maybe just have this representative on the top somehow involved in it as a almost a branding officer. But I also see just the identity of humans are kind of in question or in limbo right now because we don't, you know, we're kind of struggling to determine where we are from, where we are now, and where we want to be. And in my time, I've always seen a conflict when you have one on one like that. It's like, are we from Earth? Are we from Terra? And I think that we need a third component in here. And I think it's great that we now have the Taveran. You know, they're joining our politics, which is really exciting. I think it was Dave who mentioned that we have the first Taveran as a senator now, which is pretty cool. You know, getting more hands in that pot, I think, is going to make things a lot more mutual for everybody. But like, what about, you know, what if we have Earth, we have Terra, and what if we have Synth World as well? What if the Synth World is like the third component of humanity that we haven't really utilized yet? You know, it's like we have our past, we have our present, and maybe Synth World is like our future.
I hope not.
You
I hope
hope
not.
not.
I hope not. No, no, I hope it's a manufacturing thing that would just make it easier for people to uh, save their most precious resource, which is their time, and do something else that is enjoyable, since time is short. Maybe it won't be short in maybe it won't be short in Star Citizen, since you'll be able to extend life somehow. We haven't seen those mechanics, but anyways, yeah, I hope I hope that's I hope it's not a thing where synth world is like smart AI. And but I guess, were they actually talking about that in that that Star Citizen talk today? Were they talking about actually like they're RPing AI into it?
Yeah. Well, there's a little bit of
Mm.
that. Well, one of the representatives that wants to win the election for Imperator is like pro AI.
Yeah.
And here's how I guess it works with humanity is like, you know, we invent AI and then we get screwed over by them after like a couple of decades and then we put it away and then eventually after time we pull out the AI again and we're like, okay, this time, you know, we're not going to screw up. And then some time goes by and we end up screwing up with AI again. And that just happens over hundreds of years over and over again. And now we have one of these people for Imperator who's like, okay, well, you know what? If we bring robots into the game, we fixed all the problems of the past. It's not going to happen again. And a lot of people are arguing that, you know, maybe we should just not use AI.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe oh, is this real life or is this in game?
I can never tell the difference.
I don't know. I think I mean that I envision down the road, we already are in a place of automation, and I hope we see more of it, and I hope we just see uh I don't need intelligent automation in terms of like having some actually super AI replacing humans, but something that we program, something that a technician is trained to do, is trained to build, trained to take care of. Um, that's what I hope to see more of. So I don't know if that's what they're plan is for that planet, but it sounded very AI-ish. Uh, yeah, I could see it being dangerous. Something comes self-aware, doesn't, has some other goals it decides to make up. Then I don't know. I mean, yeah, it could be dangerous again. Like even Elon Musk is scared of AI, right? So, um, how quickly AI can learn is pretty crazy. There was that game Dota 2, and I think they had uh, oh, can't remember the name of the AI program. I think it was from Microsoft or something, or maybe it was from Tesla. Anyways, they loaned it to them and they accelerated this time slot, and I think it was within a couple days. This Dota had played like thousands and thousands of games and learned how to beat all the Dota players. What was interesting about that was um, the a couple of the good Dota players actually learned what the AI was doing. DeepMind. Thank you. Someone just said that in chat. Um, the players learned how to beat the AI. I think that was really impressive. So they learned all its tricks and did it right back to it. And uh, the AI got uh, riskier in trying to get the win and gave up an opportunity that the player was able to jump on. Um, so I mean, it's cool that we are at that point where AI can definitely kick our butt, but then we can flip it around, beat it again, and then I mean, it shows how dangerous AI could be if given enough authority. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that one thing that we think about, me, well, sometimes we think about it, is like the possibility of Terminators in the future. But I don't think we ever think about if there's maybe many periods of having Terminators in the future. Like if we keep making mistakes of being irresponsible with artificial intelligence. You know the saying, life finds a way, right? It doesn't matter
Well,
if it's real or fake life.
we're already having AI make choices right now.
Yeah.
Life or death. Tesla has already, um, I think, admitted that. But anyone that's making a drivable car, um, they actually have to program choices, or if there's going to be an accident and the computer can't see a way out, who's going to die? Is it going to be the driver because it saves not slamming into another car that has a whole bunch of people or hitting a bunch of pedestrians? So does it swerve off the road and kill the driver, or does it plow through the people because uh, the driver paid for that car and it should be protecting the driver, right? So we already have Terminators. We
Yeah.
just They just have different parameters.
Yeah. It's Leilani Addison, by the way, who is big into artificial intelligence in Star Citizen. Just imagine it, like if she gets into office within 10 years, she could produce robotic armies that beat the Van Duel. We won't even have to.
Oh, there you go.
No human lives would be lost. She could do that herself.
We could sit at home and stream.
Yeah, basically, we could stream Star Citizen, streaming Star Citizen.
Exactly.
But then what? Then we're gonna have to. So then maybe in 10 years we're gonna defeat all the Vandal with our AI robots. But then we're gonna have to go back and figure out what we're gonna do about all these millions of our AI robots we've created. Do we go back and destroy them? They become
Or
aware,
self-destruct them.
self-destruct them. Yeah.
I think there's so many movies that talk about this. Like you said, Terminator. We got Blade Runner. Yeah, it's how, how what kind of life expectancy do you put on something? Do you put something in artificial? Yeah, it's Star Trek has touched on it, and the new series has touched on it. Um, yeah, it's what's the line? And even I mean, Star Trek. I had a that episode back in Next Generation where Data was um, pulled apart and put into a court and had to prove whether he was alive or not. What
Oh
was the
yeah.
definition of being alive?
Right.
So yeah, slippery slope. Um, I mean, I think it'd be super cool to see a AI that can interact with us. Scary to think what it could do um, if it decided it didn't like us all of a sudden for whatever reason. And what would that reason be? I have no idea. Like, could it be something simple? Just it understood that someone didn't like it, so it decided to not like that particular person back, or everyone that was in the room, or slippery slope.
How do you imagine your gameplay be affected if you were battling robots? Would you mind that? Would that change the experience of Star Citizen for you?
Not at all. I mean, they'd have to write some good story to get us uh, really connected with it. So we're going to learn how good their writers' storytelling is. And my fault is that I haven't been keeping up on any of the RP. So you guys are educating me as we go. But yeah, I don't think I'd play any differently. Um, I don't know how it's going to affect players. We talk about Death of a Spaceman often in chats, and it's I think um, people are gonna like players are gonna be thinking twice when they're encountering another player as they learn uh, what the consequences are going to be for themselves if they make a mistake, or who they might be affecting on the other side. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, they talked about Death of a Salesman a little, or Death of a Spaceman a little bit in the AMA today. I don't know if you caught any of that at all. Been regurgitating around Reddit.
No, I didn't. I missed that bit.
They didn't really talk about it actually, to be honest. They're going to
Oh,
mention it,
okay.
I guess, in calling all devs during the end of October. So
Yep.
we'll get more information about that. But let me ask you, what since you bring up Death of a Spaceman, what game out there do you think handled death the best, player death the best?
Um. Well, it's got to be something with a any game that you can turn on hardcore mode and you can it's just one death. I mean, did Fallout 4 do that? I can't remember. Um, but and the original Mario Brothers,
That's a good one.
three deaths, you're done.
Yeah.
That's it.
The thing about
Uh,
Fallout is Fallout has a quick saves, so you can always just go back to your quick save.
I think you can disable it.
Ooh.
Doom. Someone says Doom. Diablo had a hardcore mode. I think I did it like a couple times, and I was like, yeah, I like playing my character. So, um, but I think even the death mechanic in Star Citizen is going to be relatively um, tame. Like I know Chris Roberts has said basically it'll be maybe something like 10 lives, and maybe you can go repair yourself and add some longevity to your life. But to me, that's still super tame. I think it's a great idea the way it is, and I wouldn't ask him to change a thing. But I could see it drastically curving everyone's gameplay if it was just one death for your character. Like if you got critically damaged enough, then uh, yeah, that's it. Um, but I still think it's going to curve people's gameplay the way he's described it.
Definitely. Yeah. Something that I don't think anybody's taken too seriously ever since the Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, I think as we go and tech gets dumped in, we're going to see more and more uh, people be shocked by uh, what's actually happening. Like in terms of like they weren't thinking that far ahead, they weren't prepared for it. So I'm glad we talk about it on our community so people are.
Let me dial into your community a little bit, actually, because I'd like to know more about you. You know who you are as a Twitch streamer. So I don't know. When did you start streaming on Twitch?
January this year.
January.
Yep.
Well, that's exciting. What a fun time to start streaming. That would have been
Yes.
before COVID, right?
Yes. That was actually perfect. Yeah. I had ordered all the equipment, and then yeah, it was that COVID showed up and it got busy, and that was good.
What inspired you to start streaming?
I think in fall of last year, I was looking for like a hobby, and I settled as like I'd already invested into Star Citizen, but I was actually like, this is my hobby. This is what I want to do, and and then I was like, maybe I should stream it as well, and so I did a tiny bit of research and bought some equipment and yeah, started streaming right away and met some great people in the community, a lot of great people. Um, so very lucky to meet so many people out in the community, and it's reciprocal. I feed back into it. We get a lot of new players in, and we help them out, and it just keeps feeding. So it's been an awesome experience overall.
That's cool. Yeah. Are you in Canada or United
Yep.
States? You're in Canada. No way.
Yeah.
Are you East Coast or West Coast?
Alberta.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty good. So like what was your COVID experience like then? Did you just go full into streaming and no turning back?
Yeah. No turning back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing crazy long days and still occasionally do a crazy long day. This month I kind of lightened up a bit. Um, but yeah, being real positive. Uh, I haven't been personally affected by COVID. I think I was sick in December, so if I had it, I think that's would have been where I had it, and I would have been in Denver. But I don't think I've given it to anything, and I or to anyone. I have don't think I've gotten it again. So
So
if I had it,
when you do streaming, because you do stream for quite a bit, like per day, it's crazy. So good for you.
yes.
Do you do, do you try and do bounty hunting to keep with the Mandalorian theme, or you do whatever?
Typically what I've been doing is I jump in and see if there's any bounties up, and then I go after those bounties, and then once it's quiet, then I would go mining. When I first started streaming, we were doing a ton of mining. I had a mole and I had solo mine in it, and then I just started inviting people in from the community to hop in the turrets. Started making videos to educate people on how to best mine, like what I use as my tactics. I think I had something like I think it was like 200 plus hours when I created that video. Maybe it was more. Um, so there's a video on YouTube that just is a breakdown of a rock, and then there's one for just the turret operators. Um, so I linked that to people, and it's a pretty good guide, good place to start. Um, but yeah, that's how that got got started.
Why the Mandalorian? Just like yeah.
Uh, I so in December of last year when I was debating doing this as a hobby, I was just thinking of a theme for the channel, and Mandalorian was out, and I just thought, yeah, Marcus the Mandalorian was the initial channel name, and so I went with that, and it was all available. So I just started uh, creating the accounts everywhere and took off, and then thought about copyright later, and then we changed it to Marcus the Way. So yeah, that's where we're at.
And you still try and bring some Mandalorian elements into your channel. I know that I've seen you wear the helmet a couple of times, which is pretty badass. Is that a Django helmet or is that
That's a Mandalorian one.
it's
Yeah.
like Mando, right?
Yes. Yeah. 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 I need to. I think it needs another paint job, but I don't know if that's. Oh, it's not going to show up on stream. But I'm
Yeah,
holding up a
a
helmet.
little
I just
bit.
looking at the green screen, going, yeah, it's not there. But yeah, it's a full Mandalorian helm. Um, it's pretty badass. Yeah.
Did you make that or did you just buy that like that?
Oh, horrible story.
Oh, okay.
But I got it. I went on to Etsy and ordered the helmets in January, I think it was, and COVID happens, and the guy that's making it delays and delays and delays, and I'm being really polite, and I'm messaging like once a month after like the first 3 months, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And yeah, in Russian, basically, it's delayed. Sorry, and so it took like 7 months before it showed up. And his store is shut down right now because he hasn't delivered a lot.
Uh,
So I feel lucky that I even got it. So cool mold. It looks really cool. Redid the visor in it so it was visible, like so you can actually see through it properly. But yeah, worked out well in the end. Baby Yoda had another that was another story along with that. I ordered a Baby Yoda. You can't see it in the stream right now, but it's sitting over my shoulder, and I ordered one of those, and I got this 30-cent Baby Yoda from China, and it looks like it's, I don't know, like 900 years old. It looks like Yoda, not Baby Yoda. So we that's hiding in the back of the stream somewhere. Bring that out once in a while for a good laugh. But yeah, so I went and got the Baby Yoda for the shoulder. So that's the whole theme, and then one of my viewers and moderators did the logo,
Right.
and it's pretty amazing logo. When you actually look at it, it actually has an M, T, and a W in it.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Okay, I see that now.
very clever of them. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. No, I think your helmet looks great, and you're right. You are quite lucky to be able to get that during COVID. It's
Yeah.
hard to be able to make that stuff. Astrojack, he's a Star Citizen armor craftsman, and the stuff that he comes out with is insane. I don't know. Maybe we should start a business for that space
Maybe.
helmet making, or something
Yes.
like that.
Yeah. Get the files from CIG and see if we can do it professionally.
Yeah, I
There was a guy on YouTube. He actually did an aluminum cast of the Mandalorian helm. Try to get a hold of him, but he hasn't replied. But that looked amazing.
yeah. Is there anything inside of it? Is there like foam or something, or there straps, or is it
There was
just
supposed to be some real nice foam spacers in there that the guy was supposed to put in. I paid for that, but he uh, grabbed, I think it was some like army material, like it was like a foamy that you'd maybe put a sleeping bag on, and he cut it up, and that was what he put inside.
mm.
So yeah, he cheesed at the end of it.
I purchased a space helmet from eBay some years back, and I think I don't want to say ripped off, but probably not the best treatment. So it's not an easy thing to do.
And like I said, I ended up getting the guy's store shut down, and I think it's still shut down. So
Yeah.
everyone everyone asked them to send him the helmets before he continues doing any more work. So we'll see what happens.
Let me ask you a bit about your org, the Mandalorian Protectors,
Yep.
right? Yeah. So tell me a bit about that. What do you got going on for that?
Orgs are so abstract right now, but I just let everyone know it's like we'll focus on uh, it, uh, freight and mining and bounty hunting, and lastly protection. So we don't know how that's going to work. If we're just going to be defending other orgs, or if we're going to be going and doing like big PVE objectives, or org versus org. Um, but it's pretty crazy to think about all the possibilities that could happen. But I don't know if CIG has actually discussed anything about about orgs and how they're going to be interacting. I have my community right now begging me to throw in a helmet on stream.
Yeah, I
It'll
agree.
probably
Please do.
it'll probably kill the green screen,
That's okay.
everyone.
Yeah. Rest in peace, green
Oh,
screen.
I'll do. Yes, my whole head might disappear. Let's
You
see what
you
happens.
got to get a Bluetooth like headset for it, so you can have your headset and all that with it.
Yeah, I got little earbuds. But let's see if my head disappears,
Yep.
everyone, for science.
For
It's a
science.
common thing we say on stream.
This is pretty badass, though. Yep. Pretty cool. Yeah, it really is the Mando helmet. I originally thought it was Boba Fett, or not Boba Fett, Jango Fett. Yeah, it's pretty
Well,
badass. Yeah,
yep,
I got thumbs up in the night crew chat here now, so
awesome.
they approve.
And it's got the track IR on it, so we can actually wear it for a very long time on stream and just try to stay in theme.
Yeah. So is Mando your favorite Mandalorian then?
I think it's going to be the majority of everyone's favorite. I mean, unless you're like watching the or like reading the Star Wars stories, I think this is going to be what it's probably the first Mandalorian that actually has a story that we can actually try to relate to in some way.
That's true. We don't know anything about any other Mandalorian, do we?
Yeah, unless you're hardcore Star Wars aficionado and reading up on it. Yeah.
When I was looking for, I put a, I don't know if you saw the tweet that I put up there from the night crew for your interview this evening, but I got a clip from the Star Wars Christmas special, if you saw, with Boba Fett in it. And I've seen that before, but I never seen it like through the lens of 2020 and having Mando in. And the weapon that Boba Fett uses in the Christmas special is actually the same weapon that Mando uses. That like,
Pretty brutal weapon.
yeah,
Did
yeah.
you actually hear what that weapon is?
No, what is it?
It's like a cell disruptor. So
Okay.
it literally is like destroying everything about you. You're not burning to death. You're it's like I think Star Trek had a I think the Kling
Vaporizer.
yeah, they had some illegal weapon on there. It just destroyed you atom by atom. Yeah.
So that's what it
Crazy.
was. Yeah.
So it's supposed to be one of the most brutal weapons that Star Wars or Disney and has ever put out. Like it's worse than a lightsaber.
And that was that Christmas special was back in the 80s, so they had that disruptor gun way back in the 80s. So
They just didn't tell you what it was doing.
that's right. They kept it from us. George Lucas, he sat on that secret this entire time.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's cool. Well, I hope that your org goes well. Whether you turn out to be a group of bounty hunters or I don't know, there is a lot of story behind Mandalorians in general, and it would be really cool bringing their kind of religion into Star Citizen in some way, shape, or form that's
Yes.
acceptable canon wise.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so yeah, we'll be bounty hunters, security. But I have a feeling people are going to be doing a lot of like the way I picture the verse happening is there'll be um, very few of these security events. I can see it where you actually have to save up for some of these things, build up a fleet, and then actually go do an event. Um, I I'm just trying to imagine what CIG's plans are, but that'll be my best guess.
And most people probably wouldn't assume that there'd be Mandalorian craftsmen. Well, you would maybe if you watched the Mandalorian show. But something that I find really unique about that kind of assumption that they're all going to be bounty hunters. I vividly remember playing Star Wars Galaxies way back when, and there was a group of Mandalorians that were craftsmen, and we used to just buy their guns. Like, you could buy guns from anybody else, but they had a very trusted reputation within the community.
Yeah,
So if ever you were on the boards and you were shopping for a weapon, you would see a Mandalorian weapon on there, and it would be a weapon like anything else. But because they had a reputation, they had a name brand within the game. We always bought our guns from them. So I don't
yeah,
know. When it comes with fidelity, there's a lot of fun things you can do in a game.
yeah. And then CIG hasn't talked about it really, but I think they've hinted at that we can do shipbuilding. So I wouldn't be surprised if we can do some weapon crafting.
Oh yeah,
They haven't really discussed crafting at all. If that's gonna happen, it's a curious thing.
it's gotta
Like,
happen, right?
well, I mean, they got that science video or a science vessel. So is like, what is it going to be sciencing? It's got to be discovering stuff. It's got to be researching stuff. So I wonder if that's where that'll head. I just can't imagine what else it'll be researching.
Yeah, I can't either. Honestly, I can't imagine what fidelity looks like without a crafting system, especially today. They talked about so much during the AMA. If you didn't catch any of that, but they went into good detail with the computer blade system that we've never heard before.
Right.
And all of a sudden they're kind of introducing new game elements that we've never thought about before. One thing in
Really.
particular is the automated missile turrets. So
Right.
it kind of just makes me think of like a mobile game. You're in your spaceship flying around, and then without touching anything, missiles are just lobbing out
Yeah.
automatically.
I'm fine with that. I mean, where I picture that is you got a Bengal, or an Idris, and hostile target comes by. Yeah, missiles should go. I think that absolutely should happen. I don't think players should be uh, forced to sit at a turret. I think that's counterintuitive to where we would be technologically. And this goes back to other things that we discuss on channel, like chaff and flare, and they fixed it now. But I don't think that's the only thing that should be in the game. I really think there should be an automated defense system, an AMS system, because we have it right now. And the way I look at chaff and flare is it's something from the Vietnam War, or any war now, or even on commercial planes that we have now. Like I think some of them actually have those systems. More thinking about the president's airplane of the U.S. He has an AMS system on his plane. So I don't know. I hope we see more intelligent systems done. I'm fine with some automation in the game, but it'd be cool if people can take over and help with it and make it better if they want.
Yep, I agree. Yep, and I guess that's what the computer blades are going to introduce. They didn't give us a timeline around that, but they gave us a whole bunch of basically every career path kind of has its own computer blade that goes with it. So it automates maybe one, two, three uh,
Oh, good.
skills at a time. Yeah. Let me ask you, what's your video game resume? What video games have you played throughout your life that have brought you to where you are today?
Oh, let me open up Steam.
Yeah.
Uh, so, oh, very first game. Well, when I was a kid, Mario Brothers. Uh, Funniest moment I had with that was when brought a neighbor over one day. It was one of my sister's friends, and I'm like, told him I'm not very good at this, and then I finished it with one life, and so he's just dying. But yeah, Nintendo, Super Nintendo. I think I had a Game Gear.
Game
Uh,
Gear.
oh
Wow.
yeah, yeah, that was a weird but really good device for its time.
Ahead of
Color
its
screen,
time, I would say. Ahead of its time.
yeah, the color screen. So that was really cool. Kept me busy. Um, and then I think I had a PS3 and a 4, Xbox. Uh, oh, Mech Warrior 2. I think when on PC that would have been like 1992 or something, on a 486 computer. If you know what that is.
Yep. Yeah. Still got mine actually. I still have my 46.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, and then what? Duke Nukem was on that,
Oh
and
yeah.
Doom, and oh yeah. Uh, Lately it's been Among Us. I played 18, or sorry, Anno 1800. Don't Starve. I was in the last few days. I was back on Dota 2. Faster Than Light, Stellaris, Warhammer. I love the Warhammer series. Um, Alien Isolation. Carrion was a one that came out recently. That was a little bizarre. It's a reverse horror movie where you're the monster running around trying to get out of these little puzzles.
Nice.
Uh, Command and Conquer Remastered, that just downloaded, but I streamed it for like a couple hours and I haven't gone back into it. Divinity Original Sin, that was actually a uh, really good game. Fallout 4, For Honor. Oh my god, For Honor, that was amazingly brutal game. Peer to peer, unfortunately. PvP, 5-man groups, single character. Basically triggered combat where you had to like um, attack and defend properly, and if you didn't do it at the right time, you'd lose. Sins of a Solar Empire. That's another strategy game. So yeah, it's my gaming career. World of Warcraft was probably one of my longest addictions. Um, I've tried not to touch another MMO since. Aeon was in there as well. But yeah, World of Warcraft, very long time in there. I can't remember how many kills I had by the time I left. I think it was something like 330,000. That was all vanilla WoW.
But you kicked the addiction. You're not addicted to WoW anymore.
Oh, I can't go in. There's a streamer that pops in my channel, Dino Darling, pop in, I've tried to watch her a couple times, and for me, it's very, it looks really simple and not like hard like vanilla Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
There was another flavor about it back then. It was the combat was, I think, harder. It was less forgiving. But I'm not saying it's easy what she's doing, but it just seemed different. So, but no desire to go back. Even after they fixed hunters the way I wanted them, I think it was like 2 or 3 versions of World of Warcraft in. I was like, cool, they fixed it exactly the way I wanted, but I was just like, I no desire to play now. So, gave her a shot, walked away.
Did you give the WoW Classics a try? I think that was released last year.
Thought about it.
Yeah.
I did watch a streamer in Altric Valley, and I was just thrown back because I spent a lot of time in Altric Valley. I ran with a PvP group where uh, we were on the Horde side, and the Alliance side would avoid us. So they would actually um, scout. They would send one person in first and see if we were the group that was in the battleground, and then they would, leave that guy in there, and then the rest of them would go find another group. But it was pretty. We were really serious about it, and they were just good guys and played well, and but we'd also jump into these Altic valleys. And back then, I can't remember how long they would run, but I remember several of them running for like a day, like just back and forth. And so we would jump in and we would just go finish it in like 10 minutes. So many good memories with that. I think was my favorite part about vanilla was the PvP system, and not so much the lack of content at the end of it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I played from Burning Crusade to the Pandora expansion.
Okay.
The one of the pandas, the Kung Fu one. That's where I quit. So
Crusader was like the Burning Crusade was a weird jump going from vanilla into that. I think I got out Wrath of Lich King, did some content in there, and I just got busy with life, doing like an actual 9 to 5 job, and or actually it was probably 9 to 9 job. It was a lot of hours, so I just dropped it then. Good excuse to walk away from the game.
yeah, I think during that period is when, and I could be wrong about this, but they incorporated like a lot bigger raids for Wrath of the Lich King. It's like they knew that their population of the game was massive, so they tried to create content that was geared around that or optimized with that. So I think
Yeah,
that changed a lot of the face of the game, introducing that.
it made it less personable, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something about 5-man groups, and that's what I noticed about Dino Darling's stream is their groups are in 5, the content's in groups of 5, so it is more personal now. I think I don't know if they do big raids though,
There's so
but
much that there's so much that goes into an MMO. Like it's gotta be. I can't even imagine being a developer for something like that. Just crap you
oh
gotta
yeah,
think
I
about.
mean, talk to Donnie here from CIG, and you get a hint of what it's like for them. So when people come in and they want to talk about uh, how long it's taking to develop, um, I'm like, well, do you know what's going on? Have you done any? Have you gone on the Spectrum forums? Have you read anything? Have you checked out any issue council reports? When's the last time you were in the game? I think this opportunity we have as a public to see how a game is developed is just really special, especially with the scope of this game. It's absolutely massive. Um, I mean, like, just how many times we walk around the verse and we look at an asset on the ground and we don't think about how long it took to develop that and how many other more assets are around there, and how long they took. I mean, it's just it's building up, but it's an incredible amount of work, um, and we have been highly interactive with the issue councils on stream and off stream. Um, but it's actually quite amazing to see how our interactions are making it into the patches. I'm not saying that we are the ones that are fixing anything, but we are the ones that are pointing out what needs to be fixed, um, and what we want fixed. And it's just a massive process, and I'm terribly impressed every patch update, the things that are fixed, or the recognition that of or acknowledgement of things that they're aware of, are going to be fixed. Um, I'm just amazed every day. So uh, we all want it to get there as quickly as possible, but uh, it just it's the more I'm involved, the more I learn, the more I can sympathize for how long it takes, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. I think they do a pretty good job as well, getting stuff out and being responsive to the community. Yeah, I'm glad that Chris Roberts had his AMA today, and he's looking at talking more about Death of a Spaceman in the future. I mean, it was earlier this year. They were like, "Oh, where's Chris Roberts? Why isn't he talking? Why isn't he saying anything?" And now he's talking. Now he's saying something. I mean, direct response to the community. He posted on Spectrum a few times as well. So, asking you shall receive, I think, is kind of like the mantra in Star Citizen.
Yeah, and I think people need to remember he's got to run the company.
That's true too.
He's got to direct Squadron 42 the way he wants it. He's got to fulfill his dream, and he's also a programmer. So you bet he is the Elon Musk of his industry, and he is getting up every day, living and breathing it. Maybe he needs a break once in a while, or maybe he's being reclusive because he is so busy. Like Elon Musk getting, I think it was the Tesla 3 out of the factory properly and getting efficient and profitable. He was sleeping at the factory for months. Like that's how dedicated he was, and I see that probably in Chris Roberts. But I guarantee you, he's in every little bit of code, checking it out, and making sure people are doing it the way he wants and doing it right the first time, or at least learning from their mistakes so they don't do it again.
It's interesting, actually, you bring up the Model 3 production. Because one thing I found that was interesting from the Model 3 production was that Musk had said that during that they reached a point where they were over automating. It's like when he was doing all the other models, he was always trying to improve the automation, but for the Model 3, he felt like they were going a bit too far with it. He said,
I remember that.
Yeah. And I kind of wonder if CIG might be in the same situation because, Chris Roberts said today during the AMA that they're going to spend as much time as they need to get Squadron 42 where it needs to be. But I just wonder if there's a point, just like they're going above and beyond, over automating.
But like they're taking too much on.
Yeah.
I think they took it on. Like, I mean, that when you say I'm going to create a universe MMO, you just took it all on. So I 100% respect that they're trying to actually fulfill that scope and make it feel as real as possible. Throw every little gum wrapper on the ground. Not cheat out on experience anywhere. I think they're doing it right. I don't think they took on too much. I think what's unfortunate is like it doesn't seem like they can find enough skilled people quick enough, and get them in. I think there's a lot of skill out there. It's a matter of finding them. Like you look on their jobs, they are hiring people, but can they find them people that they want? That's another thing that we've talked about too on my stream, and that is that people criticize about how long the project is taking, and they compare it to other projects, but the other projects are built by studios that are already founded, they're already there. The assets are already there, or they've already been building the assets. Um, so to start a company, do a Kickstarter, uh, build a scope of what you'd like to do, and then what you really want to do, then build your studio, find the talent, bring them in, pay for the studios, get them built, get all the assets in there. Like, just um, it's crazy. Um, or if this was EA doing it, again, all the studios are there, the talent's there, the tech's there, the experience is there. But then you get that negative experience where there is a rush to get a product out, and things are sacrificed. And at the end of the day, they're not accountable to like a studio like EA or whatever. They're not accountable to the player. They're or pledger. They're accountable to the stockholder. So we're gonna get it. We're gonna get a totally different result out of Star Citizen, and I hope to see some other games come out of our world that have a story like CIG, where there's a Kickstarter, they take off, they build up, and put out something amazing. Yeah.
With that perspective, I would almost want to argue and say that CR and company are greater than Elon Musk, or possibly more ambitious than Elon Musk, just because they're not holding back. They're not stopping for their stockholders, their shareholders. Montoya said the other day that they had made, well, I think it was yesterday, $250,000 in a day from selling a helmet.
Yeah.
So they're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting way to look at it. I mean, they're both of them are limited by tech and talent, and time. I see Elon Musk doing the exact same thing that Chris Roberts doing. Chris Roberts has his Squadron 42. He has his so your big storyline, your MMO, and whatever else is working on, building stuff from foundation. Then you have Elon Musk doing cars, doing SpaceX, also with SpaceX doing the low orbits satellite internet. I mean,
Starlink, yeah.
Yeah, they're very much the same. I like Elon Musk changing the world, Chris Roberts entertaining us. I mean, yeah.
Do you see Star Citizen changing the world?
No. No. I see it in terms of changing how we view entertainment. Yes. I think you'll have a lot of people that will come to the game never wanting to play a space sim because it is new, because everyone else is playing it, and they're going to get caught up in it. There was I won't say who it was. I guess they're here. They're going to know who I'm talking about. But they were basically showing a person Star Citizen, and their comment to them was, "Where's the loading screens? I can fly right down to the planet, no loading screen. I can walk around, no loading screen." It's pretty amazing. It's very evolutionary. Like, I don't know of any other game where you can, that is as massive, that you have no loading screens. I don't know if No Man's Sky has that, or I think it does. And Elite Dangerous, I haven't played it, but I'm not sure if it has any loading screens, but very, very limited. And I know they're about to get their space legs, but yeah, just the scope is crazy. Amazing.
I don't know if it's something that's discussed very often. I don't ever get a chance to talk about it, but it's always on my mind. Just what you're talking about, the idea that Star Citizen maybe won't change the world, but it'll change entertainment. I definitely see it being that way, especially after seeing COVID and how the entertainment industry has been affected. It's everything's online now. There's more time spent video gaming than there is any other type of entertainment. Um, and I kind of see Star Citizen might be the first of many to come that are just total replacements for motion pictures. And I think that Chris Roberts might be the perfect person to be kind of that ambassador. It's almost like Hollywood is considered, and it's expressed in Star Citizen. And I believe that it's an easy transition to go from old entertainment to new entertainment with Star
Mm-hmm.
Citizen as well.
Well, on a little bit of a tech note, I'm sure some people know, but a lot of the Mandalorian, I think most of the Mandalorian was shot with is it Unreal 5? And they're using a massive curved screen set for them to walk around on.
Yeah, I heard about
It's
that.
all real time generated. Um, I think it even follows the camera, or like the screen is following the movement of the camera, getting the right angle on everything. So we're already there. We're filming us in a verse essentially. Like there's some props in the foreground and whatnot, but yeah, we are there. Yeah, it's you know I don't know how many years it's going to take for us to get there, but um, is it Neil deGrasse Tyson? Um, have you ever heard him talk about are we in a simulation?
I don't know if I've heard him talk about that.
Watch it sometime. It'll freak you out
Okay.
a little bit. A little
Okay.
bit. Don't get freaked. It won't. You'll be fine.
I've heard
But
Elon Musk talk about it, and that freaked me out, but never Neil deGrasse Tyson.
yeah. Well, it might have been both of them. Maybe they
Yeah.
had a conversation
Ooh, that
and
sounds good.
scaring the world.
Yeah.
But the simple premise is just think of what kind of tech we had uh, 20 years ago, and then 10 years ago, and then where we're at now, and imagine where we're going to be at in another 20 years, 40 years. Is there going to be a point where we can download our brainwave patterns and store them all? And then what do you do with those brainwave patterns? Do you give them something to do? Do you test it out to see what you can do with it? So do you put it in some sort of virtual environment? Do you make it a little bit simmy? Do you make it feel like Star Citizen? Do you give them things to do? And then it's like, okay, so if you can make it feel simmy in your brainwave pattern program in there, uh, believes it's all real, how do you know we're not doing the same thing right now to ourselves? Um, so, anyways, that was basically the concept.
I think I remember them mentioning something like that, or at least Musk had talked about how the graphics, just like video cards, have advanced so much over
Yeah.
time, and the graphics of games has improved so much over time. But still, like I think about Star Wars Galaxies and all of the fun stuff that it had, and we don't have any other games out there that exist that have the fidelity of Star Wars Galaxies, and that was back in 2003. So it's
Right.
like some things are iterating and improving, but not everything. And I just wonder what those things are. What's preventing us from having Star Wars Galaxies?
Well, Unreal 5 should change it, I think. I think it all comes down to game engine. Um, but I don't know if you saw that Unreal 5 teaser. I can't remember. It was a girl going through like a archaeological kind of site and then flying off at the end, and and they were describing how efficient it was. It was like insanely efficient. Um, that yeah, I think that is the next big leap. Even like the Star Wars Squadrons game that came out recently, um, it 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 looked very old to me.
Hmm.
Just um, it felt dated. I know it was arcadey, but just looking at the graphics, there was nothing in it that made me go, "Wow, this is really cool." I get that out of Star Citizen almost daily as they do, go through their versions of their tech. Um, it's really amazing the amount of progression they have. I wish they would go up to Unreal Engine 5, but I have no idea what that would set them back. But I mean, you got to pick an engine and go. So uh, they've probably done it right for now.
And I talk to people about this on my stream because I don't want to pretend like I know anything about game engines. But from how I understand it, you can iterate on anything. You can continue to engineer something, and it'll get better and better over time. So whether they choose Unreal or whether they choose Cry, they can always just stay up to date with, you know, the uh, the drivers, or I can't remember what it is, but the like the DirectX or the
Yeah.
whatever those things are called. I want to say APIs, they're not APIs. Anyways, you can always iterate and keep improving on that. The only thing about Unreal is it always has an army of developers behind it, and Cry doesn't have that. But well, it
Right.
kind of does with Star Citizen. So I guess it's just a race on who can pump out features faster, the Unreal team or the.
Yeah. It's definitely what it is. And I think the biggest thing about Unreal 5 that they showed in their demo is the how you could import the assets so easily. So I'm sure Chris Roberts, if I was in his position, I'm sure he was like, pull it up, I'll start importing assets. I want to see what it looks like. I'm sure he did that. But I would imagine a change of engine would, in the end, be very beneficial if they could just import all their assets and get a significant increase in performance. I honestly wouldn't be surprised that, like, I don't know how CAG, because I'm not a developer. I don't know how they built their assets, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have them organized enough that they could just dump them in and over. I just don't know how the code would translate. I don't know if that's a possibility or if it needs translation. That'd be an interesting conversation for a developer, though.
I'm really curious to see what CryEngine looks like in VR, though. And I know we're a ways away from getting Star Citizen in VR. But if we want to go down the rabbit hole of Star Citizen replacing current entertainment or a Ready Player One scenario, I mean, VR is the way to do it. Or maybe Neuralink. What do you think? Do you think we'll skip the whole VR revolution and go straight to Neuralink?
No, I don't think. I don't think we have the tech. I don't think we have. I don't think we have the smarts to interact with our own brains like that, other than visually.
Ever.
Um,
Ever.
I don't think. I don't. I just don't think we do.
Interesting.
And if I mean, we do, like, for what we have right now, we've restored some eyesight with tech, but it's so basic. Um, I just don't think we do. I remember, I think it was back in 1990, some guy tried to upload something. I can't remember what the guy did, but he tried to, like, upload some computer data to his brain to see what would happen, and it put him into a coma. Um, like, I don't know if that's just some BS story from back then, but um, uh, I, I don't think we. I don't know. Do we have enough storage now to save a brain pattern? And what does that brain pattern mean? Um, I mean, that'll be a first stepping stone to interaction. Is the day that we say that we have downloaded someone's brain. Then I'll believe that maybe it's a possibility. But I, would, I haven't heard anything like that, and I haven't heard anyone talking about anything like that.
I think it's just all fantasy. We
Mm-hmm.
fantasize Ready Player One and Sword Art Online. If you've heard of Sword Art Online before, they kind of talk about it being in your brain. But one thing that they'd mentioned today during the AMA was bounty hunting is apparently supposed to express the first implementation of virtual NPCs. Virtual NPCs.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, because we're gonna be. It's the bartender essentially. It's the tech from there.
Is
They're
that what
putting it
that
into an
is?
NPC. Yeah. So yeah, the bartender was a big deal. They told us the bartender is a foundation for interaction with players. Um, and so it was funny that people were making fun of it in terms of uh, like, why are you guys putting this out? Like, we don't need a bartender, and we don't, but we do, because it's the foundation for how we will interact with AI. So we already had some interactions before the bartender. They took them away, and then they brought the bartender back, and they made it more complicated, where the AI is actually coming to you, asking you what you want, going and doing that task, bringing you that thing back. So it was actually a big deal. Um, So yeah, you bet that AI is going to be in everything. So you, uh, I don't know how they're gonna make a AI get out of the ship, but get out of their ship, surrender. You're gonna interact with them, get them to go into your bounty hunter cryopod thing, and that's that. Very carefully, says Donnie. Um, yeah. So I mean, it's definitely a foundation. The bartender was definitely important. There's so many things that um, because CIG doesn't discuss them with us, we have to think out of the box about like why are things being done a certain way. The biggest one for me, um, you know, trying to kick my brain out of the box it was stuck in was landing splines. I don't know if you've dealt with landing splines too much,
A
but
couple of times, yeah.
um, that one was a big annoyance for me because I couldn't get past the fact of what I thought it was for. And I thought the lining splines were for new players and trying to guide them to a place to land and help them out. And that was not what they were for at all. And I don't recall if CIG ever told us what it was, or if anyone had suggested it to me on one stream on stream one day or anything. But I just remember one day me realizing why landing splines are so important. Um, it uh, and the way it is designed, it is air traffic control. It is uh, not so important when you're on a server of 50 people and you have 20 bays or whatever. It's really going to be important when they're server meshing. So it's that big picture. What is happening later in the verse that we need to remember with all these things. And that was a big epiphany for me. That it would be a nightmare if we didn't have landing splines and there was server meshing. You would have every joker stealing your bay when you call for it, or you open your bay and try to leave. They crash into your bay, not trying to kill you, maybe, but just trying to land so they don't have to wait in queue to land it wherever you're at. So it's so important to really sit there and try to understand why CIG is doing something and try to figure out that um, what the scope might be if they're not discussing it with us.
Yep. I've already grown used to landing with those splines. I know we're like one patch now. Like we got it in 3.10, and now we've
Mm-hmm.
had another iteration on it, basically, or improvements, polishing on it. And honestly, I can't even remember what it was like to play without them now. I'm just so used to it. I
Yeah.
wonder. I wonder if in the future we'll have holding patterns. I wonder if
Yes,
maybe we'll have
we have
to.
to.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you'll be told that wait in a holding pattern. It might. Maybe there'll be some audio for it to give you that flavor. But yeah, that's exactly what the splines are for. If there's no room for you to land, you're sitting there hovering. That's the idea, and that way you're not in there messing around with the pads. If you're a new player and you don't realize you're being rude or whatever this protocols are, that's just cleaned up. Now the mess is outside. Um, People can hopefully leave, come and go safely. That's yeah.
Well, I'm glad you knew something about the virtual NPCs because I didn't know anything about that, and I was a little bit worried about that. So
I know very little. All I know is bartender.
more than me. I totally forgot about the bartender being a part of that.
Yeah.
But you see the bounty hunting extending from the bartender, so you see
All
that.
the AI. Yeah, they said it's the foundation. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying the AI that we're going to be reacting with, or sorry, interacting with, is the bartender, but it is foundation of like it'll be derived from it. And that tech that we're seeing in the bartender, I'm sure, is from Squadron 42 as well. So I'm sure they developed it there, and then they brought it into the verse for us because that's how we get all these verse assets. Is they develop for Squadron 42, and then comes over into the verse. Just like when you take a look at all the ships, why are all the Anvil and the Aegis ships already in the verse? Because they're in Squadron 42.
Yeah. I was surprised to learn today that base building seems to be kind of moving from the back burner to the front burner.
Really?
Well, I don't know if I should say the front burner. There should be a middle burner between the two, but it's something that is kind of a part of iCache, or they want to exercise with iCache. So there's been a lot of talk about that, and they're going to change it up. So instead of just having it doing outposts, it's going to do a whole plethora of different buildings.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, it'd be pretty boring if you're only gonna be able to build one building. Hopefully, it takes a long time to do it, so that there's some perceived value for these ships. But yeah, I hope it's buildings and hangars, uh, landing pads, uh, ground vehicle pads. Like literally, have to build every part of your base. Past that, I don't know what they'll be. Maybe underground structures, like us, like how we have security depots. Something more sophisticated than that, hopefully. Um, yeah, I hope they take it somewhere far and fun. Something that actually org together would say, yeah, like I want all our resources to that, because that thing that can build that building we want is that's special. That'll make us unique or help us out in the verse. Maybe I know a refinery on the ground, so instead of pilots delivering like a mining vehicle delivering something off to a AI to be refined, they're bringing it to an org for a refinery. So, and some sort of build up to that. So, getting to that uh, size and resource investment is very special to be able to buy those buildings. Um, so, create some sort of um, big goals for an org, make them more powerful.
It's so weird they didn't mention that initially. Like originally it was just outposts. This Pioneer is going to generate outposts. I wonder why they just didn't keep the door open on that when they first released it to say it's going to build
Um,
everything.
I would, I would probably do exactly what they did. Keep it basic, see what ideas are generated from it, take that input, maybe put it into place. Don't commit to it. Get the foundation of the game in, because base building is not going to be uh, critical, I think, to Star Citizen success. I think it'll be an aspect like crafting. I don't think crafting will make or break Star Citizen. I think it just adds value. So I think as long as they're adding uh, core core mechanics and gameplay like freight and salvage and combat, and those core things are done, everything else is just gravy.
You know what though? You never know because sometimes these MMOs turn into real estate games, you know?
Oh well, they've already sold land previously. I don't know if it's come up again, but they've sold those land claim um, certificates or something. But haven't seen them pop up yet
But
again.
I just wonder though in the future these land claims if you own a land claim that's on a gold vein and all of a sudden
Mm-hmm.
it has the value of $30,000 American, or you got a land claim that's on a waterfall that's in Terra and there's only one of them or something like that. All of a sudden, that's what I mean
Well,
by the real estate game.
well, they said that. Well, I don't know if I'm this is third hand knowledge from someone else, but they made it sound like these claims are not infinite. So there's only so many resources in a land claim. So even if something was built there, there's only so much that they're going to get out of it, and then it's used up. It doesn't respawn. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I don't know, because in the current system, we see rocks respawn in like 4 hours. So maybe it'll respawn somewhere else. Um, that person that was also discussing that with me was also suggesting that eventually maybe a planet actually gets totally stripped of its resources and there's just nothing else there ever, which is interesting. That would take the game to asteroids, which could just still infinitely spawn in, which is fine too. But it would definitely take gameplay that we might be used to for a bit off planet, and then totally take it somewhere else. But
Until, until we discover some new planets, that is.
yeah,
I think, by the way, I think that like what they're hoping to do for that is like mind-boggling. I don't know if anything has ever done that before, but I know that I used to play Ultima Online, and Richard Garriott, who's a big hero of mine, has a documentary on YouTube that talks about this exact thing about how resources get depleted in MMOs and they can't really persist because
I think I
humans.
watched the same one.
You watched it. Humans are this virulent creature that destroy everything they come across, right?
It was amazing. It was
It was
amazing.
amazing.
Like they did it. Like for anyone that hasn't seen this video, uh, they basically show that they've made this balanced economy. Or there's a rabbit, there's a bear. The bear eats the rabbit, and there's a balance. The rabbit eventually gets replenished. You could like hunt all these resources. They're worth so much, but they only made it worthwhile to hunt the big resources. But what happened? The humans come in and they just plowed through everything, rabbit, everything, and it just destroyed the ecosystem. It destroyed their game, and I can't remember how they fixed it. Do you remember how?
They didn't.
They didn't.
Well, they got rid of that system, and it just was what
Uh,
it was. It just everything respawned, and nothing really communicated with one another. I played UO for 5 years. I loved it. It was my like first MMO. So,
and I don't think any of the players knew that they were destroying the balance.
well,
Otherwise, they might have tried to play with it.
I think the balance was removed in alpha because when I was playing it, there was nothing like that. I came in the second patch, in that there was nothing like that at that time.
Yeah.
It's a shame, really. But now I think about that. I think about the air in Halo, and I think about how resources are going to persist, like people are advertising. And
Yeah.
I guess that means that the air in Halo is going to be so vast and so dense of asteroids that no way in time will a human ever take all the resources from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're fine there, and they can just keep spawning them in, and they can always justify it. Like, there's so many asteroids; it's not a big deal. Um, but and CIG, I think, is doing it the right way, where they've already stated, unless they've changed their mind since last year, CitizenCon, where Tony Z was saying that 90% of your interactions will be with. Well, I'm saying 90% of your interactions will be with AI, but 90% of the population will be AI, and so we can't manipulate the economy like that and destroy it. So they're already on top of that. I'm sure we'll never see something like that again unless it's a uh, uh, some other game. It won't be CIGs, but it'll be interesting to see people try and see what how they can manipulate it, if they can manipulate it. But anything I think they do will be very very short.
Yeah. That's one thing I love about what we're doing right now is free from manipulation, but also free from rapid correction. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be just sitting on the sidelines and watching all these crazy people manipulate the game, and then them releasing a fix shortly after.
Well, and they're doing it for a good reason. So me showing the community on my stream constantly the missile spam bug. I don't know if it lit a fire under CIG or helped them um, understand what the problems were. Um, but I think it. I think a lot of these problems are just people don't report them. Um, I had a video on YouTube for a bit there, and it was basically saying that I don't. Sorry, that I think that 99% of the Star Citizens that are in the verse aren't reporting problems, and I'm guilty of it too. Like even for as active as our community has been, and I have been in these last few months, I've been walking past a bug uh, this whole time, and it was the doors at Security Port Curry, where the airlocks weren't working. You would just walk through, and they would just open up each end. That was a bug. I never reported it, and no one reported it. But who did? Someone who is passionate about the game, works for CIG, saw a few of us streamers walking right through it, and they took the initiative and went and fixed it, or got the bug report in so that it would get fixed, and now it's fixed. Um, so it's really easy to just assume that someone else has reported it. It takes a minute to look up a lot of these bugs on the issue council once you have the habit, and confirm that there's a bug. And if you don't think that you, or if you think you're the only one that's reporting it, report it. And if it's a duplicate, it's not a big deal. But it's important that it gets reported, especially if you even if you know it's an old bug, that you go check and report it, because sometimes you might have different steps to actually repeat the bug, and maybe um, someone else's report didn't do it as well as you did, or maybe have a video or pictures, and then it gets expressed differently to the developers. So then they get it fixed. I mean, I think we've have almost 80 bugs reported through my stream.
Well, that's good.
And yeah, I've contributed to over, I think, 160. And even in this last patch, I think 1 or 2 bugs were in the patch notes, basically in the patch notes acknowledged, but no one reported them. No one went to the forums for a long time and wrote up anything that would be helpful to the devs to understand why something shouldn't be the way it is. So, yeah.
Well, good for you, Marcus. Honestly, I don't report nearly as much bugs as I should, and I'm always on stream telling my viewers to submit this to the issue council, but I should definitely be doing it myself.
Yeah, I mean I do it on stream. I mean, I just show people, and then I give them a ticket, and I ask them to go check it out and see if they can reproduce it and contribute. And if I find I have way more participants now, people bringing tickets to our stream, and it just goes back and forth. It's awesome.
I would like to kind of look at wrapping it up now. We're getting to an hour and a half, but I would like to know more about your stream and what you'd like to do in the future. What does Marcus the Mandalorian look like a year from now?
I see us just still exploring every new ship that we get, every new trade that they introduce to us, going through it at all, showing people how to make money in the verse, how to be safe in the verse, have a good time in the verse. Number one. Yeah, and someone says, see how long the beard gets. That's another funny one. Yeah, I look forward to all of that. Seeing how orgs are going to be organized, because we can only guess at how that interaction is going to be, and just growing the org and meeting a lot of people and helping people along the way. Every day we're meeting a new citizen and getting them going in the verse, and they're always welcome to pop in the stream and ask questions, always. And I never get tired of answering questions.
That's cool. Well, you sound like a real Canadian. You're so friendly and willing to help other people. I'm really happy to hear that. I don't know if I told you I'm in BC, by the way, so I am on West Coast. Yeah, I'm out here in Victoria. So.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's so beautiful too. And there's a lot of Star Citizen people here too, which is really cool. So whenever COVID goes away, you'll have to organize something out here.
Oh, for sure.
There's a couple other Albertan people who I've met as well. I think the West Coast Canadians kind of hang out together.
Red Lear is, right? I think Red Lear is, and a bunch of my viewers are from around here as well.
Yeah. Revere from Galactic Logistics, he's on the East Coast, but still
is he?
Counts as Canadian. If you know Galog at all, he did Galog.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Anyway,
nice.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, we'll wrap that up there, and send you guys off to Carbon Tales. Marcus, I want to thank you so much though for coming by and chatting with me today.
Yeah, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah. Had a good conversation. Not sure if I'm going to be back here next week. We'll have to play with that a little bit, but thanks everyone so much for watching, and I'm going to move you guys off to Carbon Tales, start that raid there now, and yeah, I hope you guys have a good weekend.